Let's talk about what to do when you feel lost in life and don't know what you want. When you're trying to find your purpose but don't know where to start. I know some of you feel like throwing in the towel and giving up, to just try to survive, to simply think that being lost is easier. But I caution you that that's the worst thing you can do when feeling lost in life, because that will only make you feel more lost and even less in control of life than before. Take it from me, who felt that way for a long time. Step 1 is the deciding factor of whether you'll stay stuck forever or for way longer than necessary. I'm a very creative person. In fact, I'm so creative that I come up with ways to keep myself feeling lost and stuck. My biggest masterpiece is procrastinating. I procrastinate when I don't want to do things because I find them, unpleasant or boring. I procrastinate when I don't feel confident enough to do something new, when I want to distract myself, when I feel anxious about the outcome of something as monumental as life, or when I feel I might fail at something. I snack, and I mean snack a lot when I'm feeling stressed. That dopamine release from sugar makes procrastinating even more fun. Until you realize you're now losing control over your food too and quickly gaining weight. I get really mean to the people around me, and I'm sure I don't need to tell you why that's not okay and only makes things worse, right? Those 3 things are bad enough, but these next 3 are the worst of all. After I'd binge watch on The Real Housewives and eaten all the snacks I could find, I'd be so stressed out about the time I just wasted that I'd give myself the next couple of hours to figure out my entire life. Then I'd wonder why I couldn't think straight or even creatively to solve my problems, being as stressed out as I was. And then the ideas I'd think of when feeling stressed, I'd get into horrible thought loops, convincing myself that they aren't good enough, they're not ideal, they won't get me out of the rat race, yada yada yada. Because what if I failed at that too? I think I've tried this and that and I have no motivation to keep trying, or I'm such a failure, so why bother? And I'd stop trying new things. I'd go back to just daydreaming about the perfect life to get some hope back into me. And then it hit me. Am I only avoiding hard work because I think the chances of failure is too high? Am I stuck in the thinking and planning stage of things because staying a wantrepreneur feels better than becoming one and failing? I couldn't keep feeling like this. Like, what do I want? What's important to me? So after I became aware of how I was making myself feel even more lost and stuck, the first step I took was to identify the things that would bring the most meaning into my life. So I answered these questions that look something like this, and you can take a screenshot if that helps. I started with 3 of those life areas that stood out to me because some of them either didn't resonate, or I knew right off the bat that some of them just wouldn't give me the type of satisfaction or joy that I was looking for. And I did a ton of writing. I wrote a lot. So from the simple everyday things like taking nature walks to the bigger things like not working for someone anymore. And do you know what I discovered from doing this? That a lot of the things that I valued most weren't being prioritized. So no wonder I was feeling unfulfilled and lost. So I took the next step, which was taking action on those very things I knew I needed to feel like the unique human that I am. They say that the hardest step is the first one. So you're gonna find that finally taking that leap to start that business or lose weight or go back to school or whatever it is, isn't gonna be easy. But I can tell you this, that you don't actually have to take a big leap. You can literally just take one small step at a time, one positive action, making one type of improvement, and that's gonna build momentum over time. But I know that even then, the fear of taking that action can be too much. And so the most important and last thing is understanding the role that fear was playing in my life to prevent me from moving forward, and exactly what I needed to do when I experienced it. The biggest thing that held me back for a really long time was fear. Fear of success, fear of failure, and everything else in between that I could possibly be afraid of. I've tried starting different businesses, but I was never confident in myself enough to really stick to anything to make it a success. But this really deep desire is something that's been nagging away at me for years. So when I got laid off from my job, I figured that instead of just going straight back into trying to find another 9 to 5, I'd give my all into building my company full time. And that wasn't an easy decision, right? That's the type of fear that was enough to keep me up at night. But I also knew that this was it, right? This was the sign that it was my chance to follow my dreams. If I succeeded, my dreams would be, if not in reach, then definitely in sight. But if I failed, if it turned out that I didn't have what it takes to be an entrepreneur, then yeah, I would need to just let that dream go. But you know something? I had to let those fears and worries go because I can't predict the future like Miss Cleo. Even Miss Cleo couldn't predict the future like she said she could, right? So I also realized that no matter what the outcome is, if I hadn't stepped out of my comfort zone, then I'd have no chance to find out if I have what it takes or not. And instead, like whatever fantasies I have of owning my own business, it would just continue playing like an endless loop in my mind. So if you're feeling lost in life, you really have to ask yourself what fears are stopping you from doing something you feel the urge to do. And I mean the type of fear that make you uncomfortable because you're doing something different or new, or the type of fear that makes you nervous or anxious about the outcome. And I've learned that allowing these types of fears are really just a choice that I'm making, and I don't have to make those choices. I'm no dragon slayer. Like, I don't believe in conquering fear, but I do acknowledge them and I keep moving through them, which means that, yes, sometimes those feelings come up for me every once in a while, but so far I haven't allowed them to stop me. You don't need to have it all figured out right now. Just take one small step in the direction that feels right, even if it scares you. Thank you for watching. Please subscribe and comment below with your thoughts. Can you take the time to figure out what's important to you? Are you able to take one small step towards getting unstuck? Sending you lots of love and light on your journey, and I will see you next time. Bye for now.